Good afternoon, East Coast friends, and good morning, West Coast friends. Thank you for joining us today. After many years of working with many of you, I kept hearing some really good feedback, and the feedback was, wow, this Agile training is amazing. We're really getting Scrum. If only our leaders got it. And then for the leaders, we were hearing, wow, I'm really excited about these Agile methods like Scrum for my team, but how do I need to support my organization? How do I need to help these teams succeed? So we're really kind of hearing the same message from two sides of the coin, that we needed to be helping our leaders grow, which is the mission of Brain Trust. It's helping you grow as much as we were helping the teams. So out of that has emerged the Center for Agile Leadership, and in addition, Scrum Alliance's new Certified Agile Leadership program. So that's what we're going to be exploring today. We're going to be looking at the why, what, and how of this program and giving you some more information to help you grow as a leader. Now, my name is Brian Rabin. I'm the founder of not only Brain Trust, but also the Center for Agile Leadership. And we'll get into more detail later about why there's a separate brand for the leadership training. Any of you who might have attended the Orlando Scrum Gathering, so that was the last major Scrum Gathering in the United States. It was a wild success. We had over 1,000 people attend, so 1,150. You can see some of the statistics here. People from over 30 countries, over 57% first-time attendees, 63 educational sessions. If you haven't been to a Scrum Gathering, I highly recommend it. But what I wanted to show you here is towards the bottom, top sessions by engagement. And you see there on the first score, 1984, Agile Leadership, the role of mindset, and then right behind it, 1,978, Agile Leadership, the key to scaling Scrum. The top two sessions at the last major Scrum Gathering were about Agile Leadership. And that's exciting to me. That's the community saying, you know what, this is important to us. It's important that we start looking at how do we lead in an Agile way. So I want to start with why. It's one of the big principles of Agile leadership. We need to let people understand why we exist, why we're doing what we're doing. So we look at a framework like Scrum. I'm sure many of you are familiar with the ins and outs, the different roles, the Scrum Master, the product owner, the team members. What you're going to notice is that there's no leader listed here. And if you happen to be a manager of your organization, where do you fit in? Do you have a place in this environment? And what do? How do you add value? How do you help support this work that's going on? Now, the Agile community has said in the past that there is no place for the manager, that the default should be pack your bags and leave. Now, that's not my opinion. I firmly believe that if we're going to be successful today with Agile methods, then we need the entire leadership community focused on helping us. We need the entire leadership of the organization to support us in everything that we're doing. And I apologize, I got word from our moderator, Nicole, that the screens were not changing. So I believe now I may have that fixed, so bear with me in the technology, and hopefully you'll be able to see the slides moving forward. So there's been a disconnect. We had our team members who are involved in the Scrum process. We have our executives who are giving the direction for the organization, and then we had everybody in the middle. So most organizations today have some type of management level. They have managers, supervisors, directors, vice presidents. Could be a number of different roles within an organization. And in an agile organization, these people really need to be a conduit to help the translation between what the executives need for strategy moving the company forward and the team members who are our most important assets, the people who are actually making the magic happen. If any of you have studied Southwest Airlines, Herb Keller, the CEO, founding CEO, he said that our most important asset are our team members, that we should focus all of our time and attention on growing them, because at the end of the day, they're the ones who take care of our customers. And if they do a good job taking care of the customers, then the whole system works. And we all hopefully now know about Southwest. We know that they've been one of the most profitable, successful airlines despite anything that's happened in the economy in all of time. They've been wildly successful. So the Agile Leadership program is really focused on managers, supervisors, directors, vice presidents, the people in the middle, to help not become a bottleneck, but to be a conduit for information flow, transparency, and living and practicing the values and principles of Agile. And what we find is that if we want to have an Agile organization, then we're actually going to hit a glass ceiling at some point. We're not going to ever be more Agile than the leaders in the organization. And I've seen this time and time again with different clients over the years. The teams get some Scrum training, they start doing Scrum, they're doing a great job, but then management isn't bought in, they don't understand how the teams are working, and they're still asking for a lot of traditional metrics. They're still leading in a very traditional way, and that team will never achieve its full potential because it's being held back because of the culture of leadership within the organization. So as leaders, we don't want to be impediments to agility. We actually want to be supporters. We want to be helping create that ceiling, break it down or make it even higher so that our entire organization can be more agile. So let's talk about the what of the program. What is it, now that we know why we need it? Well, we came up with the definition of what an Agile leader is, and I'd like to share that with you. Agile leaders are inclusive, democratic, and exhibit a greater openness to ideas and innovations. With a passion for learning, a focus on developing people, and a strong ability to define and communicate a desired vision, they possess all the tools necessary to successfully inspire others and become an agent for change within any organization. I hope this definition resonates with you. I hope that as a leader, this is what you're striving to become. I know as a leader of my organization, this is what I strive for every single day. Now, the Scrum Alliance earlier this year came out with their Certified Agile Leadership program. And it's a two-part or two-credential program. The first credential, at the moment, they're just calling Level 1. They've actually hired a branding firm, and they're working diligently to come up with a different name, a sexier name, if you will. But for right now, it's Certified Agile Leadership Credential Level 1. And Credential Level 1 is where we're focused right now. It's the starting point on the journey. And what we're doing in Credential Level 1 is we're imparting knowledge, so it's a high training component, And we're also coaching so that not only are you learning about these Agile techniques, but you're also effectively applying them. Now, credential level 2, which is a little more gray at the moment, is a experience-based credential. So the idea here is that you've learned the foundation in credential level 1 of what it means to be an Agile leader, and now you've been out practicing it for a while. And now that you've practiced it for a while, you've become an Agile leader, and we need a way to demonstrate that to the community. So there's going to be advanced education, there'll be additional training topics, there's going to be additional practice, and also some peer workshops. So definitely building a community here. So 2 different credentials, credential level 1, which we're focused on right now, and then credential level 2, which will firm up in the future. So to achieve credential level 1, again where we're focused right now, we have content in these 5 different areas. At the heart of it is the idea of living and leading Agile. Are you truly embracing it as a person? And then we start looking at an Agile overview. Obviously, we need to understand Agile. Looking at how we shift our organization through Agile approaches to change. So how do we shift the organization to become more Agile constantly? What does an Agile organization even look like? And how do we build that up? And then where should we be applying Agile? So that's the 5 key areas that content is broken up into. We're going to dive a little deeper into each one of those in terms of what you would get from our approach to teaching this. So Brain Trust is, and sort of Center for Agile Leadership, which I'll get to in just a minute, we are credentialed by the Scrum Alliance to provide this. We're one of 3 training organizations today who are authorized to teach this program. So under the heading of Living and Leading Agile, we have Agile Leadership, so we define what that means. We explain what an Agile culture is, and then we talk about you and are you fit? And that's feeling in shape enough to lead. So what does it mean at a very personal level? In terms of the Agile overview, we have a lot of clients coming to us because they are not Agile today, or maybe they're from a completely different sector. They're not even within IT, and they're wanting to, take a look at what the Agile community has come up with. So some organizations, some people may not have the same background that you may have, and so they need to understand what are the Agile frameworks. We teach personal Kanban as a way to organize and create transparency with our work, and also what do Agile teams look like. So the Agile Overview section are for those leaders who haven't been that exposed to Agile in the past. Context for Agile, under this heading, we're looking at topics like, how do you motivate people in an Agile environment? How do you get away from using power and instead build influence? Obviously, if you've studied Agile, you understand that command and control, being a dictator, abusing power, is not the preferred way to get things done. How do we foster Agile communications? How do we create better transparency of what's going on in the organization? And then how do we do retrospectives so that we can constantly improve what we're doing and get better over time? Under the heading of Agile approaches to change, my organization has been running on something called the Entrepreneurial Operating System, or EOS. And EOS is a really awesome framework. It's a very agile framework for running any kind of organization, whether it be a small business, a large company, could be a nonprofit, government. It really doesn't matter. It's a way to organize and move your organization forward. So we teach a lot of EOS within the program because we feel it lines very well with how do we keep moving our organization forward. As well as case studies. We've had some really interesting clients come through before. Some of you might have heard of the Tennessee Department of Transportation. Joe Kirk and Todd Holden have been a great case study for what they've been able to achieve within a government organization. Another lady, Ricky Schwartz, who works for Waste Management, has a really amazing Agile team. She's done some great work with her operational group. All these different organizations, we have these great case studies to share with you so that you can see what it looks like to be an Agile leader and what kind of results people are getting from that. Under the heading of Agile organization, we have Agile cultures. What exactly is that? What makes a culture Agile? How do I work with multiple teams? Many of us today work in a situation where we're trying to get stuff done across multiple teams. Working with remote teams. For most of us today, the reality of our situation is we do have teams that are dispersed, whether geographically, maybe even within the same city. But how do we continue to be Agile in that remote environment? As well as what do we need to do to focus on developing the teams that we lead? All in all, we have 16 possible learning objectives that have been approved by the Scrum Alliance to cover the content required to meet their credential level 1. And I know this is way, way too much to read. You can pull all of these off of our website, and we'll share that link with you towards the end of the webinar. But I do want to share that in the class, what we do is we allow everybody to vote on these, and we cover them in priority order. They're all meant to stand alone. And the exciting thing is that we can put all this out there. You guys can vote on what's most important to you, and then we can focus on the most important items first. If you are interested, the program does provide 17 Scrum educational units and also 17 professional development units through PMI. So you can kind of double dip here. If you care about Scrum educational units and you also care about PDUs because you have PMI certifications, then the program will meet requirements for both. How do you go about getting this credential? If you want to become a certified Agile Leadership Credential Level 1 holder, then how do you do that? Well, I mentioned BrainTrust earlier. BrainTrust is where we started. We founded this company 7 years ago to train Agile concepts. So many of you may have taken Scrum training or Kanban training or test-driven development or technical practice training through BrainTrust. But we felt like to approach leadership, we wanted to do that under a different brand, under a different banner. So we came up with a new brand called the Center for Agile Leadership, and everything Agile Leadership related is now being done under this additional brand. So still a BrainTrust company, but a different look and feel to approach a different problem. Classes are intentionally small. We keep all of our public classes to a maximum of 8 people. And the reason we want to do that is because, A, you have to think about the size of a Scrum team. Obviously, if it gets too large, communication breaks down. So we really want people to be able to have deep, intimate conversations. We really want people to be able to know everybody in the class on a first-name basis and to be able to connect on a personal level. I don't know about you guys, but anytime I've taken leadership training, it's the relationships that I build in class that really stick with me throughout my entire life. The people you're in, having the shared experience with, can be an amazing resource. So we want to make sure we have that community for you. The program starts by signing up for and attending a 2-day class. So we're 2 days together, building a community, learning about all those different content areas we just discovered. Now, for many organizations and many classes you've been to in the past, it's once and done, right? You go in the classroom, you walk away, and there's nothing else. But this program is unique in the sense that we have 3 months of coaching afterwards. So once a month, after the class is over with, you're going to get back together with your peers, all the people who attended class, on a 1-hour phone call, and lots of exciting things are going to happen. One, you're going to be held accountable to meeting commitments that you made in class. So you may have committed to implementing a personal Kanban or implementing something you learned in class, and you get to have the accountability of your peers and also ask for help if something's not going as planned. Sometimes on these calls we review books that were given to you as part of the class, and also we discuss issues that you might be having as a leader. It's really a big support group that stays together for 3 months. So small class, 2 days together to start it off, and then 3 months of coaching down the road to keep it going. This is a premium class. You're going to see when you walk in the room orange Italian leather binders. You're going to get a large leadership library. It's a really comprehensive experience. Everything we think you might possibly need to move you forward as an Agile leader, we're providing to you. The class is not lecture-based. If you've ever attended a brain trust class, we've brought that similar experience to this class. It's very hands-on. It's very interactive. There's a lot of group discussion. It's really about how can we involve you in the learning process, because we know from the latest brain science, the more involved you guys are in the learning, the more you're going to retain, the more successful you're going to be. So Ricky, who took this class, she said this class challenges the corporate status quo more than any other I've taken in the past 45 years without promoting unrealistic strategies. Now, many of you might be thinking, oh, well, this class is a little bit more expensive than what I'm used to. I personally have been on a quest to take the world's best leadership training, and I've taken some really interesting classes. I took one last year called Leadership at the Peak from the Center for Creative Leadership. That class cost $11,900. I took the Entree Leadership Master Series class from Dave Ramsey's organization. That class cost $10,500. I took the Executive Experience, which is another leadership training class. That class was $5,875. The Cal Credential 1 class is a mere $2,500. So I think you're going to see that this is really a bargain in terms of what you're getting compared to what's available on the market. It's obviously more expensive than a certified Scrum Master class, but this is not a certified Scrum Master class. This is developing leaders. This is being in a small group. This is being a premium experience, and it's also 3 months afterwards of coaching along the way. Dean, who took it, said the course hits on many important leadership topics. You get a chance to look deeply at yourself and your own leadership characteristics. The course was extremely insightful. Now, we're offering this program 2 different ways. One is privately. This was our first private client, Georgia's Distributing, their largest beer and wine distributor in Montana. We recently completed a private class for a company called Pro Assurance. They're a medical malpractice insurance company. So if you have a critical mass of people at your organization, want to get your entire leadership team trained, then we can come to your city. Now, we won't do the class on site because number of reasons. One, it's easy to get distracted. 2, we want to really pull you out of your environment, put you into nature so you can really become introspective and really reflect without all the distractions of work. But we can certainly come to your local city. So far, I took the class. It was very insightful for someone who seeks to improve their leadership skills and willing to be challenged to step outside their comfort zone. We do offer the class publicly, so if you're just a single individual looking to get the training, the next class is going to be at the Leadership Lodge in Nashville, Tennessee on August 23rd through, it should be the 24th, not the 34th, and that class is sold out. The next, well, shoot, I lost the slide with the next available class. I apologize for that. Our next available class will be September 26th through the 27th in Salt Lake City, Utah. After that, on September 29th and 30th, we'll be in Des Moines, Iowa. On October 20 through 21st, we'll be in Los Angeles. And 10, 26th through 27th, we'll be in Atlanta, Georgia. You can find all this information at centerforagileleadership.com. So if you go out to the centerforagileleadership.com website, you can find all the upcoming public classes. And Ken Reynolds, who's our Vice President of Sales and Marketing, he is here to assist you if you would like to sign up for a public class and need more information, or if you want to bring a private class to your organization. At this point, we've got 4 minutes remaining. We're going to take some questions, and I'll answer anything that you guys would like to ask. We may run over the time box if we have a lot of questions. So I'm just going to keep answering questions for a while, even if we go past the time box. So if you only scheduled 30 minutes, feel free to drop off. I'd be happy to have a conversation with you as well if you'd like to email or set up a phone call. Really, really focused on helping you grow as a leader. So at this point, Nicole is going to hop on and share any questions we have. Also want to mention that this is being recorded, and if there's anybody who'd like to see it afterwards, we'll be sending out a link, and you can review it then. So Nicole, do we have any questions?
So we have one. Is there any prerequisites to taking the class?
The only prerequisite to taking this class is that you're in a leadership position. Because of the people coming together in the room, we really want to be able to speak from experience. So if you're not a leader currently in your organization, then I would say this program is not for you. But as long as you're in some type of leadership role, then you're going to get a lot out of this.
So if you have any questions, you can go ahead and put them in the chat, and I'll read them out to Brian. Our next question is the program based on the software industry, or does it cover product development in general?
What we found through practice is that, yes, Agile definitely started in the software development community. However, the values and principles of Agile, what it means to have an Agile organization, it totally transcends software development. So any company today who is building a product or developing a service, basically I think the Agile values and principles can apply to any organization. Any organization that has a desire to be more Agile would be applicable. So to me, I look at this as modern day leadership training and not necessarily, how do I become a better technical team lead for my software development team. Think modern leadership training.
So the next question is, what would a CSM who is not an executive hope to gain from the program?
If you're a Scrum Master on your team, then one of the roles and responsibilities is to coach the organization and to help the leadership of the organization, including those executives, understand more about what it means to lead in an Agile way. When you come to Certified Agile Leadership Training, you're not diving into the nuts and bolts of Scrum and all the intricacies there. You're focusing on the bigger picture, the strategy, the leadership. How do I build influence? How do I help clear roadblocks for my team? How do I help move the organization forward to break through that glass ceiling of agility? So I think if you're a leadership Scrum Master, then I think you're going to see values and principles that can be applied to help coach those leaders become better Agile leaders. Because the more Agile they are, the more successful your teams are going to become.
So another question is, what else is required for the certification other than taking this course?
In order to achieve the Certified Agile Leadership Credential 1, you need to attend the entire course, and then you need to be an active participant in the 3 months of coaching that follows. So that means attending the calls, that means doing your homework between the calls, that might be implementing something or reading a book or whatever the group decides for that call, but being an active participant in that. So once you've taken the 2-day class, you've been an active participant for the next 3 months, then we submit your name for certification with the Scrum Alliance.
So another question, what is your anticipated start date for Credential Level 2 training?
At the moment, we have not gotten too far down that road for a number of reasons. One, the Scrum Alliance is still figuring out the details of that credential. The Credential Level 2 is still it's a little gray area still, so they're still figuring it out. And we've decided to focus at Brain Trust and Center for Agile Leadership on the first level credential, which we could really build a foundation with. And besides, anybody who wants to get to Credential Level 2 has got to get Credential Level 1 to start with. So in terms of timeline, when we're going to get more detail out there, I'd say it'd be a minimum of 9 months, probably a year or two down the road before we start developing offerings in that area. Again, we want to focus on the first part, which is Credential Level 1, making sure that's rock solid and having a foundation. We are building an alumni community, so the people who attend the program, they're participating in a private LinkedIn group. They're also staying in touch via an alumni call. So we are building a community of Agile leaders who are interested in pursuing the second level credential. And if you join us for the first level credential, you'll be brought into that inner circle, and we'll, of course, keep you updated and do everything we can to help you as you grow towards that second credential.
So one more question. I'm not a leader, but would love for my company's leaders to hear about this and get on board. How do you recommend selling this to them?
Yeah, that's always the challenge, right? How do I get other people in my organization on board? And I find that change really only happens for a couple of reasons. One is a big external event. Your organization fails an audit, the market shifts, and maybe you decline, your organization is bought. Something major happens, and that tends to force change. I mean, that's one, and those events sometimes are few and far between. The other is it's really more of an internal thing. So who are our early adopters in our organization? You've got to be looking at who are those people who are out buying the iPhone when it's brand new. Who are those early adopters that are really bought in and really lifelong learners? So if I can find an early adopter who's a lifelong learner, then usually it's just a matter of educating them on the new offering and the value of it. So sharing this recording with them. If they're primed because they're an early adopter and they're a lifelong learner, then this may be really appealing to them. Also, please recognize that either Dan or myself would be happy to get on a call with you and that leader or leadership team and do our best to help make a case for it as well. So we're here to work with you if you have leaders in your organization and you want to help share the message with them. We're willing to lend our expertise in that area as well. So, if somebody is just dug in and they're not open to new learning, it's going to be a really hard sell. But again, if I'm looking for those early adopters who are lifelong learners, then usually it's just a matter of educating them that this new offering exists.
Another question. Previous information provided mentioned an in-person interview to be accepted. Is that correct?
What we're doing right now is once you've let us know that you're interested, whether you've just registered through the website, we are going on and investigating you, looking at your LinkedIn profile to ensure that you're a leader. If you register and there's any question about a leader, whether you're a leader or not, we're going to pick up the phone and give you a call, and we're going to make sure that this program is right for you. We do want you to be in a leadership position. Just so you know, the demographics of who typically attends a class, a certain percentage, I'd say 15% or so, is C-level executives. Another percentage, a little bit bigger, is vice presidents. The bulk of the people who have been in the room have been in some type of director position, and then we've had a few Scrum Masters, Agile coaches as well, but it's mainly been like directors and vice presidents in the class today.
So another one, can you tell us how the Level 1 certification application to the Scrum Alliance will work for people who have already taken the class?
It's transparent to you. Well, not transparent. That's probably not the right word. It's not. There's nothing you have to do for the Level 1 credential. Once you've met the requirements, again, attending the 2-day class and being a part of the 3-month coaching program, we submit your information to the Scrum Alliance, and then they let you know that you've been accepted. So it's really nothing that you have to do as an individual. It all relies on us as a full-service provider taking care of you. So again, all you have to do is show up to the class, be a part of it for 2 days, and then be an active participant in those 3 months of calls, and then you will become certified. And we will handle all the logistics with the Scrum Alliance on the back end.
So how does the certification help in building your career?
Well, I don't know about you guys, but one of the founding values of Brain Trust is always continue to grow. I personally think about every single day, what am I doing to grow myself? And I hope anybody out there, I hope every single one of you is doing the same thing, constantly thinking, what can I do to grow myself? And to me, that means being in charge of your own career development. So I personally have sought out, like I mentioned earlier, the world's best leadership training. And I make it a point to take a minimum of 1 class a year, because what I want to be doing is being exposed to different people, different ideas, because each one of those experiences is going to give me something new, and it's going to help me grow. Always take away one nugget, whether it be from a webinar, a book I've read, an article online, but we need to be in charge of our professional development. Certainly, if we work for an organization and they're progressive, they're going to be pushing us, but realizing that we're all professionals, we need to be moving our own balls forward. I think it's really important for you to look and say, hey, is this going to be valuable for me in terms of my career growth? What I'm seeing in the industry is that old ways of working, 9 to 5, command and control leadership is dying. It's not the way of the future. And a lot of the ideas you're going to be exposed to in this program are the way of the future that a small number of organizations may be doing today, but more and more organizations are moving in that direction. So if you're interested in understanding what's coming up in the future in terms of leadership, and you're interested in your own personal development, then I think this is going to be a really great step to help move you forward and to give you a competitive advantage. Once you become a certified Agile leader, certified individual, then that helps increase your market value. It says that, I took the time to invest in this. I understand what Agile leadership is, and I'm going to lead in an Agile way. And an organization that's trying to be more Agile, that's very appealing.
So another one, can you let us know how the recording will be shared and if there will be slides available from the presentation?
Right. The recording, and correct me if I'm wrong, Nicole, we'll be able to send out a link to you that you'll be able to just click on and get direct access to it. And then we will also post the slides up on our SlideShare account and share that with you as well. I'm going to correct the slides before I post them. Notice a typo and a missing slide. We'll put those back in, get it corrected and uploaded, and we'll send that out to everybody who's attended.
I think that covers everything unless we have another late question.
Well, thank you everybody for attending today. I appreciate your time. Please do give us the opportunity to help you grow. Brain Trust and Center for Agile Leadership exists to help you grow as a leader, and we would love to mentor you on your journey to becoming an Agile leader. Thank you all very much.